Now the first thing we're going to do is set up our materials for the model. So in order to do that, we're going to go right ahead to the tree outline window. Now as you can see, this window matches the logical sequence of simulation steps. So the first step would be to click on the geometry and expand this button by clicking on the plus sign right here. Now as you can see, we have all our components under this tree window right here. So we have the base, we have the lifting lug, and we have our 4 bolts that we created in Geometry Modeler. Now each one of these bolts can be further expanded, and now we can see the individual components of each one of these bolts. Now in order to assign a material to it, as you can see here in the details view, it is yellow, which means a material input must be defined. So in order to do that, we can click on this arrow, and now you can see that we can either assign a new material, import a material, or we have a material right here called structural steel, which we already defined earlier in this tutorial. Now instead of selecting it right here, I want to assign all of these bolts the same material. So what I can do is click on bolt 1 right here, which contains all these subcomponents of the bolt, and assign the material directly right here by clicking on the arrow again and clicking on structural steel. Now this changes the little question mark on the left to a check mark, which means that this material is now up to date because it has now been assigned a material. We can now continue to do the same thing for the other bolts by selecting, let's say, bolt number 3 and clicking on structural steel, and we can even hold Control and select, let's say, bolt 2 and 4 and assign structural steel as well. Now if I collapse these, we have the base and the lifting lug left. Now we could go and create a different material and assign a different material for the base and the lifting lug, but to keep this tutorial simple, we're just going to use steel for all of the components. So once again, for the base, we're going to go into the material assignment and click on structural steel, and for the lifting lug, we will click on structural steel as well. Now our geometry has a green check mark and it is now complete. So now we can go ahead and collapse the geometry object. Now next here in the tree outline is the coordinate systems, where if you expand this, you will see that you have a global coordinate system already set, and you can see that the origin is 0, 0, 0. Now let's say if you wanted to create a new coordinate system, you can right-click on this object right here, click on Insert, and then click on Coordinate System. Now with this, you can create a new coordinate system based on, let's say, a geometry selection, or you can even create it based on a name selection, or even offset it from the global coordinate systems by an amount that you desire. And this is very useful when defining loads and boundary conditions. However, we won't be really using it too much in this tutorial. So we can go ahead and right-click on this one and then click on Delete, and then we can click on Yes.